Good afternoon. My name is Munyao. I'm not going to read my tribute because I think you've heard what Dad was to us, the siblings. I would like to say that the same way he treated his children, his biological children, is the same way he treated us. He called me daughter. The only thing I forgot to say was father. So I want to just say I'm so privileged to be a part of his life. I want to thank God for his life. Like I said in my tribute, I knew of Dad before I met him. That was before I got married into this family, because when I met Charlo, he would speak to his dad like every week, and all I would hear is laughter. And I could never understand what exactly do they talk about. He would never be asking his child about his school, what is he doing in college. All I would hear was laughter. So that was my introduction to Dad. A lot of love and a lot of laughter, and that has been till to date until he passed on. So I say I'm very privileged to have been a part of this family. He took me on with open arms, him and Mom, and loved me exactly like his child. I want to talk about Dad's integrity. As a politician, I never wanted to get married to a family where they're politicians. But looking at Dad throughout his life, even when he came out of politics and he retired and he was home with us even in the last year, Dad slept peacefully. You all know why? He never had to worry about a scandal coming out. He never had to worry about any corruption cases coming out on him. His integrity went with him all the way. So we honor him for that. The other thing I can say is he showed love. He wasn't afraid to show love as a man. So I can say he loved us all and we loved him back. So he knew he was loved. And again, I always say that if you have parents who are alive today, please do not wait for them to go and give their tribute when they're gone. You need to show them love today. So let's continue loving each other and being there for each other. We shall miss Dad. Like I think Teto said, we were not given a chance to go through the process of Dad leaving us. It's going to be hard. It's actually even hard to imagine that he's not there, but God will see us through, and I pray that God will see the family through this season. Thank you, and God bless.
Good afternoon. My name is Christine Wanjiro, wife to Tet Munyao. I'm going to read my tributes. I'm going to make it quick. My first encounter with Dad was a professional one. I worked at Alpha Group of Companies in Mombasa, was in charge of Fisheries Department, and this placed me under the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries. Dad was a minister then, and though I had not interacted with him one-on-one directly, and I knew he was tough, no-nonsense person who followed the rules by the book. In August 2007, the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries emerged the winners of the Mombasa ASK show, and for having the best stand. To celebrate the win, the minister, Dad, then invited the stakeholders for a celebratory dinner at Voyager Hotel. My company sent me to represent them. This is the dinner where I met my husband, Ted. Months later, when Ted introduced me to Dad, I was very skeptical. I expected to meet the tough person I knew. I actually thought I would go through an interrogation. To the contrary, he was nothing but warm, welcoming, and loving, and remained consistently so for the period I knew him. Dad had a rich history about himself. I enjoyed listening to his stories about his early school days, how he was spoiled for choice when he got multiple jobs immediately after high school, his stay in Russia as a diplomat. All this he would narrate to us when we paid him a visit. My two favorite topics with Dad were politics and golf. Politics was in his blood, and it was always fascinating listening to his political journey from a young age, how his role in the fight for democracy, and I always wanted to pick his mind on the current politics. From politics, I admired how principled he was. In an era where politicians go with the waves, Dad always stood by what he believed in. Dad loved golf, but as he grew older, his he developed back issues that made it difficult to swing the club, and he really missed playing. When I joined golf, he encouraged me a lot and would at times send me flyers of games that he thought I should play. Every time I went for a competition, he was always excited to hear about it. He knew most of the courses like the back of his hand. Dad was one person who genuinely cared about one's day-to-day activities and well-being. Even when we had not talked for a while, the next time you met him, you'd be surprised when he asked about you and specific events. He would get an update about us, my daughter and I, when he talked to Ted, which they did quite a number of times daily. We have different people say how much Dad supported them and supported them and touched their lives in different ways. Dad loved education particularly. I remember when I told him I was starting my master's over 10 years ago, he called me to his office, and to my surprise, he asked me how much the first term semester fees was, and then he wrote me a check for the full term. I've never been happier. That's the kind of person Dad was, selfless. Dad fondly referred to me as Mama Sarah or my daughter, and I can proudly say that he told me I made the best isio. And every time he visited our home, we always made sure to make for him isio. And we also used to take for him the isio. Later, as he was not moving a lot, we'd take him to his house. We'll really miss that. I could go on and on about Dad, but I'm glad he rested knowing how much he was loved and cared for. And he also left no doubt that he cared and loved us. We will cherish all the times and moments we spent together, and we hope and pray that we can carry the lessons we learned from you to generations to come. Rest well, Dad. We will miss you.